Hello everyone, myself B. Pondrangarazu, working as an assistant professor in Annamachar University in the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. Today I am going to introduce the topic called as machine learning. Let us come to the point about the introduction. Machine learning is one of the subset of artificial intelligence, and this was developed by the computer scientist called as Arthur Samuel. Is an early American leader in the field of computer gaming and artificial intelligence. He coined the term machine learning in 1959 while he was working at IBM Corporation. He worked so many laboratories like Bell Laboratories, vice versa. He defined machine learning as it's a field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. And sometimes we call machine learning as instead of telling a computer to do something, we allow a computer to come up with its own solution based on the data. And the data is a kind of thing which we are going to have our the task, like whatever the inputs we can assign, that inputs will be considered as a given data. And machine learning is one of the programming computers which is going to optimize the performance of criteria based on the data and past experience. Let us define what is meant by learning. A computer program which is to be said as the three keywords. One is experience E and task T, performance measure P, and we can identify these learnings while their activities or any action to be takes place, like task T, performance measure P, and experience E. If the performance at task T and it was measured by a P, and the improvements will be done with the experience E. Let us have an example that how the handwriting recognition learning problem will works. There are so many learning problems like playing gaming problem, chess game, pattern recognition, identifying spams, email spams, or any health issues like any health issues, or we can diagnose anything or any gaming sectors. So one of the example I have considered as handwritten recognition learning problem. So I represented task T as recognizing and classifying handwritten words within images. And what is the role of performance here is it will calculate the words in a class which is to be correctly in a classified form. The training experience E is a kind of data set which will be written in the form of handwritten words, and that will be give some classifications. That classification of written words will be in a some scripted, like it will be numerical or it will be alphabetical, whatever the data set we can have. Next, how the machines will learn. A computer program which learns from experience is called a machine learning, or simply we can treat it as a learning program. Such program is sometimes referred as a learner. In learning process, the human or machine can divide into four components, namely data storage, abstraction, generalization, and evolution. Let us go through the diagrammatic representation of basic components of learning process. And here we are having four learning strategies. Learning strategies in the sense learning process, basic learning process. One is a data storage, which is going to store our data, and abstraction will indicate the components, and generalization will have some inferences. Based on this, we can have our evolution. The first, data storage, it is the first component of learning process, and it is also known as a data storage. In this learning process, we can store our data with a huge amounts of structures, and that kind of data will be considered as a learning process. If humans and computers can learn such kind of data, that data will be considered as a foundation of some reasoning things. Here, coming to the point of reasoning, reason will be in two categories. One is a verbal and non-verbal. In human being, the data will be stored in a brain, and the data is retrieved in the form of electrochemical signals. While as in computers, it will be stored in hard disk drives, flash memories, random access memories, and similar devices, which is capable of the technology which we can retrieve. And next is the second component, that is abstraction. Abstraction is a kind of process which can extract knowledge, and we can store such kind of data in general concepts or a single or a whole. A huge consideration also we can store, or a smaller quantity of data also applicable. And it is a kind of creating a knowledge, like any which involves in applications by knowing some models or any new methodologies or creation of new models. And here we are going to use a model called as a fitting, and that fitting model is a category of a training data set. And this training data set is is a category which identifies some related information which is suitable for a particular frames or any data any kind of data. And whatever the trained model we can have, that will be transferred in the form of abstraction, and it will summarize in a original information. The third one is a generalization. This is a third component of learning process. And in this process, we can describe the thing called as turning the knowledge about how the data is going to be stored, and it will be utilized for future action. And these actions are to be carried out in some tasks which are similar but not identical. And these tasks has been seen in earlier data sets that will be shown in next future generations, like identifying some learning things like supervised, unsupervised, or supervised, semi-supervised, or reinforcement learning. So this generalization is a kind of discover which will have our properties in the most relevant future tasks. And last one is evaluation. Evaluation is the component which gives a feedback for a user to measure the quantity of data, how the data, how much quantity of data the learner can be learned. And some applications I have called for. Number one is retail business. Machine learning can use the retail businesses for a study purpose and some other utilities, some other considerations also. It will be also used for trading commerce, like electronic commerce. So in electronic commerce of trading business, by applying the machine learning, we can have the transactions like customer to customer, customer to business, business to customer, and business to business. This is a kind of a behavioral strategies, and it is also used in finance and banks for identifying the credit card applications, fraud detections, and we can also use this in a stock market or mutual funds by investing some amounts in nations stock exchanges. And third application is manufacturing. This is one of the best optimization which is used for troubleshooting and controlling. And fourth one is a medicine. Machine learning, medicine. When coming to the part of medicine, machine learning plays a peculiar role, and it will be used in some medical diagnosis for identifying any diseases or curing the disease, and can predict the diseases by using these machine learning techniques. And fifth one is telecommunications. These are also called as network optimizations, which will be maximized in the quality of service based on the uh, based on the services like RSS services, BSS services, and NSS services. That is base switching center, radio switching center, and network switching center. It indicates with the mobile communications also. And coming to the part of science, it stores a large amount of data in the form of physics, astronomy, biology, chemistry, all any kind of life sciences. And we can update this in World Wide Web also as a consortium. And seventh application is an artificial intelligence, how to learn and adapt. to teach a system how to learn and adapt, and we can have a system designer to need for forcing some solutions for possible situations. And eighth one is we can find some solutions for problems like vision, speech recognition, and robotics. Machine learning is also used for designing things like controlling vehicles, and we had a driverless car also in IIT Hyderabad. They implemented one driverless car on roads. And tenth application comes under the playing games. You can have a playing games like chess, uh, video game playings, and backgammon and go playing also is. Thank you. Meet you in the next session. Bye.